So this episode is going to be a super short episode, sharing some reminders, if needed, for you of why you should train over Christmas. Again, full transparency. I was someone many, many years ago, especially in my 20s, when I associated Christmas and New Year purely for food and a shitload of alcohol. I didn't train. I remember it was very typical for me to be someone who, the moment I'd sort of finished work, especially my plumbing days, and even my earlier personal training days, it was a free-for-all. It was just an excuse to literally drink every single day, eat whatever I wanted, because that's what habitually I'd associated what you do at Christmas. Eat what you want, drink what you want, and training was like a negative and somehow boring, and maybe cared what other people thought, perhaps if I did train, because I should be relaxing. What I've come to realize is that Christmas, New Year experiences can only be enjoyed as much as how you actually feel about yourself and about your body. Now, I'm not trying to preach by any means that you need to be shredded or in peak shape at Christmas. You know, it is the one time of the year where I really do like to taper back a little bit in terms of the complete structure of my training and food. I like to eat what I want within reason in the evening. You know, I like to have some drinks at different days across Christmas. But they can only be enjoyed if I know I'm moving my body still over Christmas. I promise you this, if you keep training over Christmas, you will enjoy the festive period so much more, and you'll be able to handle more food. Those drinks, if that's your thing, will taste so much nicer if you're actually feeling good about yourself. And, everything we do is for feeling. And one of the things that apparently we all work so hard for is so we can treat our loved ones at Christmas, go to nice places. But if we're not actually showing up as someone who is actually happy, healthy, energized, and feeling good about ourselves, then we might be able to buy things to keep, the people we love happy. But deep down, most people want your time. They want the best of you, or at least somewhere near that. Okay. And why I believe training is so important over Christmas. And what I mean by training, it could be weights, could be cardio. As long as you're moving your body, I'll consider that as training. But I do encourage you, if you want to not give yourself a mountain to climb in Christmas, to keep lifting in some way. I just thought I'd share some really pinpoint reminders of why we should keep training. Right? When we train, we are far more likely to make better eating decisions for the rest of the day. Now, my strategy over Christmas will pretty much be eat whatever I want in the evening, but I'll make sure 80% of the mornings, aside from Christmas morning when I have a nice breakfast at my mum and dad's, that I keep my food really, really tight during the day, and then I eat what I want within reason. So it's not like a free-for-all where you eat whatever you want at breakfast and lunch and dinner, because even with training, you can be an absolute mess very, very quickly within the space of a few days. And I speak from experience here. Like, irrelevant of how lean I am, you can change dramatically if you just pig out for a few days back to back without any thought or care of the calories going in your mouth. But this problem is heightened if we're not training and if we're not moving. So I would use training as a catalyst, as that thing you do first thing in the morning or at some point during the morning, to be the instigator in making better eating decisions for the first half to 3/4 of the day as an absolute minimum. Because the truth is this, over a Christmas period, you are going to eat more food. Again, I'm yet to coach anybody who doesn't want to eat more food and or have more drinks from just before Christmas to the New Year. So if we know our calories going up through food, drink, or both, it's not rocket science. We're going to get very fat very quickly if we're not moving. The maths just don't add up. And sometimes people do need this blunt, harsh reminder. If we're not moving, we're not training, but we're eating more and drinking more, that's a calorie surplus, which is significantly higher than any period of the year. So train, even if they're shorter sessions. There are certain ways I'd advocate training as well over a Christmas period, training more volume, shorten rest periods, or keeping the body moving more within your session. Supersets, extended sets, trisets. You don't have to do long sessions, but keep the body moving in the time you have available. Whether you train for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just try and keep the body moving. And if you're lifting sessions, don't do too many straight set sessions over a Christmas period. And as I've touched on, Christmas and New Year, these are two pivotal moments for most people who celebrate these occasions, where these are like the end of year celebrations. You want to feel good with everyone you love. If you are training pre-post Christmas and New Year, or maybe even the morning of New Year, right? And I know some people train the morning of Christmas. I don't quite do that. I might go for a walk, might have been for a run before, but honestly, we're going to enjoy these occasions so much more. The amount of New Year's in my 20s and early 30s, when I just down tools with my training and just ate and drank what I wanted, where New Year I felt like shit, was untrue. And some people might think, yeah, good one, as if that is true, Kirk, because I've been in shape for all these years now. But I still have an expectation of how I want to feel. And when you felt good about yourself for all year, and then all of a sudden you've pigged out, you drank loads, and then you feel like shit, you could have the best shirts, the best jumpers, the best clothes from your Christmas presents, gifts from loved ones. But if you don't feel good, that those end of year celebrations don't taste as good. Whereas if you've paid your dues with your training and kept your food as tight as you can around these occasions, your Christmas dinner tastes better. Your Boxing Day dinner tastes better. Your meals out with your friends taste better. And that alcohol, it's earned. It's earned. The same behavior, the same food, where you haven't earned it, it's not the same, okay? And I really believe that if you're someone who is married, you've got a partner, you've got kids, I really believe that you not only owe them a sense of responsibility when it comes to dedicating time for them, but you owe them a sense of responsibility to show up just as happy and energized as you do for your clients in the remainder of the year and your team. And I think some people forget that sometimes. It's sort of like down tools, eat, drink. When the people you love most, they want your attention, but they don't want you like lethargic, moody, irritable because you've down tools with your exercise. And it doesn't matter who you are, it affects everybody. You know, when you overcook your calories in your drinks and you don't train. And if you're someone who's doubting that principle, think about back to the last however many Christmases, or maybe even certain periods of this year where you've had a period of the year, or maybe previous Christmases, New Year, where you've drank loads, ate loads, you've not trained. How did you actually feel, and did it make you happy? And can you honestly, hand on heart, say that you maximize the time off with your missus, with your kids, with your friends? If the answer's no, honestly, just turn the gears up on your training for this Christmas and New Year period. Then the last couple of points are reminders of why I believe you should train over Christmas. It's about forward thinking into January. Now, of course, you want to be present over Christmas, but if you run a business like me and our clients, you want to start January strong, on the front foot, with momentum. You don't want to be wasting that first week or two in January feeling guilty because you've done nothing with your body, you've barely moved, and you're taking a week or two to really kickstart your motor in January because you haven't moved. Remember, as I've said many times before, movement shifts mood. Of course, I train to look good, as do many of my clients, but I train first and foremost because it's like my daily medicine that is my input to affect how I feel and the energy I want to live with. So if you are not training over Christmas, I guarantee you will feel guilty in January. And you'll be one of these people going, I need to get back on it. How about staying on it, but on a lower level over Christmas, and then you just turn the gear up in January? You're going to be able to outwork competitors if you stay fit and keep your body strong over Christmas. You'll achieve more from a productivity perspective, efficiency perspective, and a mindset perspective if you just stay active over Christmas. I'm not saying train every day, although I'd advocate moving most days, even if you decided to have Christmas off completely. I totally get it. I like that to be a lazy day too, but move your body most days. Get some sessions in. I think less but better beats doing nothing, and watch how much sharper you are in January and how much more mentally focused you are and on the front foot you feel compared to your competitors. Because what you don't want your competition outworking you. right? I've got no secrets to hide. I want to turn the gears up every single year with my business. I know there's lots of coaches in the online world now, but I want to keep myself strong and fit. So, I'm at the front of the pack always. But I can't do that if I'm an absolute sack of shit across Christmas. And as I keep coming back to, everything we do is to chase a feeling. So if you know that you are happier when you do some training, do it. What difference does it make if it's 24th, 26th, 27th of December, 28th, 20th? What difference does it make? Because your brain, your body, your psyche doesn't really give a shit what month it is, what date it is. But it certainly can feel how good you feel. And if one of your inputs to affect how you feel and how you perform and the energy you want and how happy you are is lifting and training or cardio, whatever that looks like, keep doing it. And I promise you'll enjoy your Christmas so much more. And that's that. And if you don't listen to my next podcast, because there is going to be one out on Christmas Day, it's going to be short and sweet. Just because when I committed to this podcast, I wanted to really keep my promises to myself and you as a listener that I never missed a Monday, and I haven't. I mean, I forward plan lots of these because I'm traveling lots too. But if I don't speak to any or connect to any single person between now and Christmas, if you are someone listening to this who's been a loyal follower, or maybe you've been a newer listener to this podcast, I just want to thank you so much again for your continued support with this channel. I'd really appreciate it if you can leave, a 5-star rating, some comments. Please connect with me as well. As I've said on a recent podcast, with any episodes you want me to cover, any topics, any guests you'd love me to bring on, because it really does mean the world to me. I put an awful lot into this podcast and my team, the planning, the filming, just to try and make it as polished and real and valuable as possible for you. So I'm really open to all your suggestions and feedback, and I really appreciate all your support. And I wish you, your family, anyone you love, health and happiness for the remainder of this year and an even greater 2024. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.